And there I was studying psychology, and I was someone who always wished she was studying arts. I always wished that I was a painting student, and I took as many painting and dance classes as I possibly could to satisfy this urge. But psychology was still sort of the thing that I had chosen that I felt would be the most quote unquote acceptable. It was still able to draw my creative sensibilities into the field of psychology, but the paradigm that I was raised in really asked me to find something useful, quote unquote useful, to study and to devote myself to. So psychology was the foundation for my exploration. And while I was studying psychology, I found myself really interested in Carl Jung, and I found myself really interested in specifically his art and the way that he drew the archetypes and these mandalas and was creating these new ways of thinking about really classic concepts in Buddhist psychology of the subconscious and the formless and the collective unconscious and synchronicity. And there's just something very special about the way his mind works and the magic that he brought into psychology. Of course, I think in a modern Western institution of education, he's probably the most magical figure in psychology that they really get into in the mainstream. But I knew that intuitively he was just the tip of the iceberg in terms of revolutionary thinking about the mind, body, and spirit connection. And so that was my first taste. So by the time I was a junior in college, I began to really want to paint things that were representative of this collective unconscious or of this space beyond the scene. So my art started to become more and more concerned with themes from my dreams or from my meditation or yoga practice. And this was when I guess the way that I'm seeing it in my mind's eye right now, my head and my focus really began to turn towards the unknown and the extrasensory and the formless and the void, and sort of begin to withdraw from the paradigm of modern pop psychology a little bit more. And this felt really rebellious and really beautiful and really stirred my sacral energy center. And so I guess we can begin talking about that. Just naturally moving my attention up to my sacral, this beautiful orange that's related to creativity and inspiration and sensuality within the practice. This period of time for me around the end of college was really, really intense. It feels really vulnerable to speak about because that relationship that was so foundational to me that I named earlier with my high school sweetheart was ending. And with it came this crazy surge of sacral energy. So this was the time of my life where I maybe felt like the most fuel or inspiration or pleasure with creation I ever had. Around that time that we split, I moved to a different house. We were living together at the time, and when I moved out, I was staying up most nights to paint. And then I would be drawing in the margins of my notebook all day during class. And then I would be waking up at like 4 a.m. to do a morning sadhana, which is a yoga practice. But I at the time didn't have the language to really know what I was doing. There was this immense surge of energy, and it was actually to the point where I really didn't know how to handle it, and yoga was something that I turned to just intuitively to help me ground and structure this energy.